The Night I Learned to Control Fear. A Grandpa's Story to Little Ben. Whoa! The evening sky turned orange as the sun dipped behind the hills. Little Ben sat cross-legged beside Grandpa on the porch. The wind was soft, carrying the smell of rain and earth. Grandpa leaned back in his rocking chair, eyes half closed, a smile tugging at the corner of his lips. "Grandpa," Ben said, looking up with wide eyes, "what's fear?" "Daddy says everyone has fear, but you don't look scared of anything." Grandpa chuckled softly, brushing Ben's hair back. "Ah, my little Ben, I wasn't always brave. Fear once ruled me like a cruel king, but one real terrible night, I learned how to control it." Ben's eyes lit up. "A real story, Grandpa? Real as the heartbeat in your chest," Grandpa said. "Now listen closely." Whoa! The stormy night. "I was about your age," Grandpa began. 6 years old, living in a small mountain village. We had no street lights, no cars, no phones, just old houses, tall trees, and the sound of crickets at night. One evening, a storm rolled in. Dark clouds swallowed the sky. The thunder was so loud it shook our little wooden house. My parents were at the neighbor's helping deliver a baby. I was alone with my older sister, Mary, who was 9. We sat near the fireplace when the wind suddenly blew the door open. The flame went out, and darkness filled the room. I screamed. Mary grabbed my hand, whispering, "It's just the wind, Tom. Don't be scared." But I was terrified. The trees outside looked like monsters waving their arms. The thunder sounded like a giant growling. My heart thumped like a drum inside my chest. Ben shivered. "Were you crying, Grandpa?" Grandpa smiled. "Oh, yes, I was crying. My hands were shaking. My teeth were chattering. I wanted to run, but there was nowhere to go. The storm had trapped us inside." Whoa! The knock at the door. "Then," Grandpa said in a low voice, "we heard a knock. Slow, heavy, thud, thud, thud." Mary and I froze. "Who could it be in that storm?" My sister whispered, "Maybe it's Mom and Dad." But something in the way the door shook made me doubt it. Another knock came, louder this time. Thud, thud. I felt my chest tighten. I could hear my heartbeat louder than the thunder. Mary wanted to open the door, but I grabbed her arm. "Don't!" I whispered. We waited. The knocking stopped. Only the wind howled now. We huddled together under a blanket, whispering prayers. Ben's eyes were wide as saucers. "What was it, Grandpa? Was it a ghost?" Grandpa chuckled softly. "That's what I thought too, Ben. But fear can make your mind play tricks. It can turn shadows into monsters and sounds into ghosts." After a few minutes, we heard something again. A weak cry, like a kitten. "Meow, meow," right outside the door. Mary said, "It's a cat, Tom. We have to help it." I wanted to stop her, but she was already running to the door. She opened it, and in rushed a cold gust of wind, splashing rain everywhere. There, on the porch, shivering and soaked, was a tiny kitten. We brought it in, wrapped it in a towel, and held it close. It purred softly, and somehow that sound made my fear fade away. Ah, the lesson of the candle. Grandpa leaned forward, his eyes warm and deep. "Ben, that night I realized something powerful. Fear grows in darkness. It feeds on silence. But the moment you take action, light a candle, help someone, even take one small brave step, fear begins to shrink. he continued. So after that, I decided to light a candle, even though the storm still roared. My hands were shaking, but I struck the match and lit it. The light flickered and danced across the walls. The shadows weren't monsters anymore. They were just furniture, just shapes. Mary smiled and said, "See, Tom? It's not scary when there's light." And she was right. I learned that controlling fear isn't about pretending it doesn't exist. It's about shining your own little light in the middle of the storm. The real test. But the real test came later, Grandpa said, his voice steady. When I was 12, my father got lost in the forest during a heavy snowstorm. The villagers were afraid to go look for him. The woods were dark and full of wolves. Everyone said, "Wait till morning." But I remembered that night years ago. The candle, the kitten, the lesson. I couldn't just sit and wait. So I tied a lantern to a stick, wrapped myself in a blanket, and went into the forest with our dog, Bruno. Every sound made my heart race. The wind howled through the trees. My legs trembled, but I kept walking, calling, "Papa! Papa!" After what felt like hours, I heard a faint voice reply, "Tom, here." There he was, half buried in snow near a fallen tree, his leg injured. I helped him stand and guided him back home. The villagers said, "You're brave, Tom." But I knew the truth. I was scared the whole time. I just didn't let the fear control me. Ben gasped. "You saved him." Grandpa nodded. "Yes, but more than that. I saved myself from being ruled by fear forever." The secret of courage. Grandpa leaned closer and whispered, "Do you know the secret of courage, Ben?" Ben shook his head slowly. "The secret," Grandpa said, tapping his chest, "is not being fearless. It's doing what's right, even when you're scared. Fear is just a signal. It tells you something matters. But if you listen only to fear, you'll miss life's most beautiful moments." He looked up at the sky, now filled with stars. I've faced storms, failures, even times I thought I'd lose everything. But every time fear tried to stop me, I remembered that 6-year-old boy lighting a candle in the dark. Ben's small voice broke the silence. "So, if I'm scared of the dark, should I light a candle too?" Grandpa smiled. "Exactly, my boy. Or maybe hold someone's hand, say a prayer, or take one brave breath. Control your fear before it controls you. Because bravery isn't born, it's built, one small act at a time." The porch light flickered on. Crickets sang in the distance. Grandpa stood and lifted Ben into his arms. "Grandpa," Ben whispered against his shoulder, "I think I'll light a candle tonight." Grandpa kissed his forehead. And that, my dear Ben, is how a brave heart begins. Moral of the story. Fear is not your enemy, it's your teacher. You can't erase fear, but you can control it by facing it, step by step, with courage and kindness. Every small act of bravery lights the darkness within.